Hello and welcome back, everybody. And there is a lot of news going around the challenge realm as we had the finale for the Challenge USA, which has caused quite a stir. And we've also gotten the cast reveal and the trailer and the premiere date for the Challenge 38 Ride or Dies. But there is still more going on in the challenge realm and in the challenge news, and that is for the rest of the spinoffs for the Challenge Global Championships that are going to be happening. And so I thought that this would be an opportune time to talk about what we know about the rest of the challenge spin-offs, starting with the Challenge Australia. What is it that we know? Now, I would say that the Challenge Australia had what I would consider a soft announcement. And what I mean by that is that all we got was that there was the Challenge Australia, we got everybody's headshots, but we do not know like the premiere date or anything else. We did not get a trailer or anything like that. But I thought that this would be a decent time to just go over what we know about the Challenge Australia. As I mentioned, we do not have a premiere date, but we know that the host is not going to be TJ Lavin. It's going to be a singer, MC, broadcaster, podcaster, Bryony Dawson, and the prize money is going to be $200,000 according to the challenge wiki page. Now that seems quite low for us Americans, as our American standards are a little bit higher, as both winners for the Challenge USA got more than $200,000, but it sounds like the winners are going to have to split $200,000, meaning they get $100,000 each. The filming location is the same with all of the spin-offs, so they're going to be taking place in Argentina. We know from an article that was put out by 10 Play, which is the channel that will be producing and broadcasting the Challenge Australia. They said that there's going to be 10 episodes and the algorithm will be implemented. So it sounds like the format is going to be the same across, which, you know what, I wasn't a huge fan of the algorithm, but if you're going to do it for one format, you need to have the same format for all of the challenge spin-offs. So whatever happened in the Challenge USA, the Challenge Australia, Challenge UK, and Argentina should have the same format and same consistency so that there is no like, oh, these winners are better than these winners when they play different games or different formats. So I actually like that they're going to have the same format throughout. Some of the questions that I've seen online is that will we be able to see the Challenge Australia in America as it is premiering in Australia? There's a lot of uncertainty. What I do think will happen is that it will be broadcasted in Australia and the region surrounding it, wherever the location is able to broadcast the 10 Play, and it will be on the Australian Paramount Plus version, but I don't think that the Challenge USA was on everybody else's Paramount Pluses outside of America. We will probably get the Challenge Australia at some point, but it's going to be down way later in the future when the Global Championships is about to premiere. They might dump it onto Paramount Plus everywhere else that the regions are going to be competing against each other, so that way we can see it. I want to make the announcement here that I will not be covering the Challenge Australia. I won't be doing review and recaps on my YouTube channel, and I won't be doing Tiny Table Talks, but what I will be doing is a watch party for my patrons of the $3 and up tiers, and we'll be watching the Challenge Australia week by week as it is premiering. Now, for people who are sitting here thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch live every single week with everybody, that is fine. I will still try to make the episodes available to everybody, so you don't have to go searching for a link on random sketchy websites or doing anything you may not want to do on your computer. I'm still going to try to make it available to everybody who is a Patreon supporter for my Patreon at patreon.com/AngelKFids. All right, so with that context out of the way, and that's basically all we know about the behind the scenes of the Challenge Australia, let's talk about the cast. And we're going to talk about the women first. Now, I do want to point out there is a lot of dating show contestants on this version of the Challenge Australia. There is a ton of Bachelor Nation competitors, there is some Love Island, and there is also Married at First Sight competitors, which I think could heightened the level of drama with the challenge in the USA. It's kind of difficult to see what these competitors could do when they're not subjected to high level of octane or strategy that needs to be implemented in their game shows. So from what I know of some of the Bachelor players that have been on the challenge, there hasn't been a ton, so it's not a good sample size, but they just haven't done the best on the show. But I think that the Challenge Australia know what they're doing. They know their competitors. And so I'm not going to pass judgment on them. There is only 2 Survivor players on this cast list and 1 Big Brother player. Now, I think coming into this, I'm thinking the drama is going to be high octane, where I'm hoping that possibly the players that are coming in are ready to play, ready to come in fighting to try to win. We'll have to wait and see what that is going to look like. All right, let's get into the women. And we're going to start off with Audrey, who is from Love Island, Australia, season 3. She entered in day 21 and left day 26. So she didn't spend a lot of time on her season of Love Island. But with Love Island contestants, whether they're from the UK, Australia, the US, you can guarantee that 1, they're going to be hot, 2, they're going to be in great physical shape, and 3, they could have a good social game. So I think that with Love Island, at least there is some context that we've seen in other challenge seasons, not only in the Challenge USA, but also in the Challenge main season on MTV, that Love Island can actually do pretty well. So Audrey's coming in. Next one up is Brittany from Bachelor Australia 6. She is also a podcaster, radio host, and actor. She's also been in Bachelor in Paradise season 3. So there's going to be a lot of crossover between the contestants from just being on The Bachelor, Bachelorette, and Bachelor in Paradise. Many of these Bachelor contestants have done 2 or 3 shows. So that could be a pretty powerful alliance if the Bachelor Nation decides that they're going to come together and be Bachelor Nation strong. The only thing I have to worry about is if there is some bad blood or some tension from past relationships that everybody has had, it could crumble. And crumble rather quickly. So that's something else to look out for. Next up, we have Brooke, and I have to mention that there are 2 Brookes on this season. We're going to first talk about Brooke B, who was on Bachelor Australia 3, Bachelor in Paradise season 2, and she was also the Bachelorette in season 5, and she is also known as a podcaster. She's been through every single version of The Bachelor. It's quite interesting. And I think that it's going to help her out as she knows a ton of these players, at least on the Bachelor side. I mean, she was on 3 different versions of a Bachelor show for a reason. She must have a great personality. People must love her. Interesting to see what she can do on the challenge. Next up, we have Brooke J from Survivor. She was on season 3 of the Australian Survivor and she got 7th place, and she was on Survivor All-Stars where she took home 4th place. I've seen a ton of people be super excited to see Brooke J on the show, and knowing how well Survivor players did on the Challenge USA and how their performance on Survivor can be more of a 1-to-1 transfer onto the challenge because they do very similar tasks. They've played very similar games. They have to use the same kind of mentalities and strategies to manipulate and to get farther into the game. So I'm looking forward to Brooke seeing what she can do. I have not watched a ton of Australian Survivor, but I'm excited to see what she can do. I think she's going to be a front runner to do very well on the challenge, and I hope she does very well on the challenge. Let's go to Ciarran, who is on Married at First Sight Australia season 6. I only watched a handful of clips of Ciarran and her family, and I'm telling you right now, drama galore. I mean, she is going to bring a lot of feistiness, and she's just going to bring all the drama. I love it. Emily is an Olympian swimmer. She also performed on Australia Ninja Warrior 6. I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here 8, which is like a cross between a competition survival show, kind of like a Fear Factor almost. I watched a couple of clips. I mean, Emily is an Olympian, and we saw an Olympian do really well on the main season of the challenge. Theo Campbell, he was an Olympic sprinter, and he got second place in one of the hardest seasons, War of the Worlds, season 33. So Emily, I think, could come in. If she's in fantastic shape, I think she could be a frontrunner as well, as somebody to look out for. Let's move on to Jessica, who was on Bachelor Australia season 7 and Bachelor in Paradise season 3. Yeah, again, like I mentioned, there's a ton of Bachelor Nation competitors on this show. She was on the same season as Brittany and Kiki and Ciarran. So that's somebody that maybe if they can all work together, they can be together. You know, maybe that they can work together, but it can get messy as some of these players have been together, hooked up, been in a relationship, and cheated on each other. Ugh, man. Speaking of having a messy relationship, let's go to Kiki, who was on Bachelor Australia season 4 and Bachelor in Paradise season 3. She was on there with Ciarran, who we will get to in a very short while, but it did not end well. Their relationship did not end well at all. So it's going to get very messy between at least Kiki and Ciarran, I believe, and it's going to get very interesting. Let's move on to another Bachelor Nation competitor, which is Megan, who is on Bachelor Australia season 4 and Bachelor in Paradise season 1. Not too much crossover between Megan and really anybody else, but again, if they're having Bachelor Nation parties, they get to go hang out and get invited to bachelor parties and stuff, then I could see them knowing each other very well, commingling with other Bachelor Nation competitors to get farther into the game. Let's move on to a pro boxer on the season, which is Sugar Neeks Johnson. Come on now, a pro boxer. She's going to have incredible stamina. She's going to be in great shape, endurance, strength, power. I mean, you have to have strategy in your brain to try to take out your opponent. If she gets into an elimination against anybody in a hall brawl or pole wrestle, I think that Sugar Neeks could be somebody to look out for. And finally, on the women's side, we have Susan, who is an actress and an influencer. I don't really have too much more on that. I think I read somewhere that Susan has a ton of accolades. I think she won Fashion Designer of the Year back in 2012. She is well accomplished, very successful. I just don't know what to expect from her. If she's not from a reality show or if I have not seen a lot of clips of her, I don't know what to expect from her coming into a show like The Challenge, but I hope she does well, as I do wish everybody will come in ready to compete and be highly competitive to try to win this money and to make it onto the next level to be a part of the global championships. Now let's move on to the men, and we're going to start off with the pro boxer, Billy Dibb, a pro boxer, and again, like I said with Sugar, this is somebody who's going to have a lot of stamina, a lot of endurance, strength, power, and who is no stranger to a ring and competing one-on-one. And if people are going to go into an elimination against the pro boxers and they're a little bit nervous, they've never done any physical combat, I think the pro boxers could take a big lead on them and take them out as they have that eye of the tiger kind of thing. Let's move on to Ciarran, who was on The Bachelorette Australia Season 5, which was Brooke B's season, where she was the Bachelorette, so there's already a connection there. He was also in Bachelor in Paradise Australia Season 3, which was Kiki and everybody else's season, and he was also on The Bachelorette Sweden, where there's no real crossover. Now, if you want to get the lowdown on Ciarran and how messy he can be, I highly recommend going to Bachelor Fan Takes YouTube channel, as he has a whole video just on Ciarran. I watched it and it was very insightful. So I definitely suggest going to watch the Ciarran Bachelor in Paradise video and profile that Bachelor Fantic did. There is a link in the description down below. Let's move on to Connor, who was on MasterChef Australia season 13. I can't really, there's not much to cross over and check with this, so I hope Connor's in great shape and is ready to play. Let's move on to David, who is in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here 8. Like I mentioned, that show is like a survival show. You have to do random different tasks to survive in the game and to play and compete, and also it's kind of like a fear factor. So I'm actually, when I first put this together, I was like, what is this show? It doesn't seem that great, but it's actually pretty interesting. So I'm actually looking forward to the players that were on that show to see how it translates onto the challenge. Let's move on to Grant, who was a Love Island Australia Season 1 contestant, and he actually won. Very controversial, very messy, as it came out that he only went on the show. One, he already had a girlfriend while he was on the show, and then he was just on the show to get his fitness brand out there. So this man will do whatever it takes to, one, get on a show, and then to win. He is a personal trainer. He is a businessman. He has his own fitness equipment. So he is in great shape, but yeah, not the most moral tactics to get onto a love dating show and then manipulate your way all the way to the end to get that win. Let's move on to Jack, who is on Australia's Got Talent 5, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here 7, Australia Ninja Warrior 6, and The Masked Singer Australia 3. Yeah, I mean, Jack has done a ton of reality TV, and he seems like he is very capable. But we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen. Let's move on to Johnny, who was on Australia Survivor 4, where he got 9th place. And he was also on Australia Survivor All-Stars, where he got 17th place. Not the best placements, but he is the only other Survivor player playing on this challenge season. And he has got at least a friend who played with him on Australia, which is Brooke J. I don't know their real connection with each other. I don't think that they're very close with each other, as she went way further on that season than he did. But, I mean, as somebody who is coming in from a Survivor show, I can't help but think that at least he has some upside for playing on Survivor, competing, and kind of having that one-to-one transfer of skills from Survivor to the challenge. Moving on to Conrad, who was on The Bachelorette Season 5, where he was also a contestant on Brooke B's season, as well as somebody who was going for her hand with Ciarran. So maybe there is that trio that's going to be shaping up, or maybe Ciarran just is too messy and they're going to want to cut ties with him. Sometimes mess is not always the best, you know? We have Marley from Big Brother Australia Season 13. It just wrapped up in 2021, and he won. So I think, again, only one Big Brother player, 2 Survivor players, even though they are down in the numbers, I can't help but think that they have a better leg up on at least some of the dating contestants that are on this show, like at least the contestants that were on MasterChef and Bachelor and Bachelorette, and those shows don't really have tasks in them. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing what Marley, Brooke, Jay, and Johnny can do, because I think that they're going to be able to use some tactics that they've used on their Big Brother and Survivor seasons to go farther in a show like The Challenge, despite having very little numbers to help them out. Then we have Ryan, who was on Married at First Sight Season 5, Australia, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here 6. And then finally we have Troy from Australia, Ninja Warrior 3, 4, and 5. So Troy has been on Ninja Warrior, at least. It's a high-level obstacle course, and so I would think that he would be in a great shape and great physical shape to do really well. So taking a look at everything that's going on, I'm, again, not trying to be very judgmental on this cast because I haven't watched a ton of their seasons or know these people as well as I would say from the Challenge main season or the Challenge USA. But I can't help but fall back on the shows that I know and the contestants that I know from like the USA versions of these shows. And I can only think that the players that stick out to me that could do really well on this season would be Brooke J, Johnny, Grant from Love Island Season 1, the pro boxers of Billy Dib and Sugar Neeks, and maybe the Ninja Warrior players of Troy, Jack, and Emily, the Olympian swimmer. Those are the players that really stick out to me that I think could do really well on this season. Oh yeah, and Marley as well, because he was on Big Brother. So when taking a look at what I know from the American versions of these shows, the contestants that have made their appearance from those shows onto the main season, and the Challenge USA that just premiered or just ended, I have to think that those are the players that are going to stick out in my brain and who I think would have a leg up on the competition and could possibly win and make it to the finals and win this game. But that is all we know about the Challenge Australia as of right now. What do you think about this cast? Let me know down in the comment section below, and let me know if you are familiar with any of these shows and any of these seasons and any of these competitors. And if you are, let me know any bits of information that you think is pertinent heading into this season down in the comment section below, as it'll help me and other audience members looking to watch this show as it is premiering. And who are you rooting for? Who are you rooting against? Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. And what are your expectations coming into this season? Are you looking at this and going, wow, there's a lot of Bachelor Nation competitors, I don't know how this is gonna go? Or are you like, yes, bring on the drama, I hope there's a ton of it? Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. And I want to give a special shout out, thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support, thank you for your generosity, thank you, and thank you to everyone who is watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really soon with more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.